Hey Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk, a discussion about all things automotive. I'm Cory.
And I'm Matt, and each week this podcast will serve as a catalyst for discussion on all sorts of topics that grind our gears, rev our engines, or just need a bit more information. What are you laughing about already?
Does that engine rev include the whir or whine of a massive supercharger?
Absolutely, it does.
So we are coming to you, not live, but we're recording on location.
Yeah.
Matt and I are both members of the Texas Auto Writers Association, and each spring they put on the Texas Auto Roundup, where manufacturers from all across the U.S. bring in vehicles for multiple journalists to gather together and test and dole out awards. And the event is held. We are in Fort Worth, Texas, just outside of the Texas Motor Speedway, where the event has happened. And you've spent a lot of time here in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah,
huh?
just in the past 7 days. Yeah, I spent a little bit of time over at Texas Motor Speedway with the Mustang GT500.
So let's talk about that first.
Okay.
Just because we have not talked about that yet on the podcast.
Yeah.
And that was an incredible experience that made me jealous. And I'm a Camaro guy through and through.
Right.
So, like, not only seeing the pictures that you were sending me, but everyone else that was at the event made me immensely jealous. There were burnouts. You actually got to go around the oval.
Yeah.
Just crazy, insane stuff.
Yeah.
So
banked corners at 120.
Oh, tell me about that.
Oh my gosh.
Describe the feeling.
Absolutely nuts. And probably for the entire episode, nuts is the word, because everything that we've done today, everything I did on Tuesday was just nuts. It was insane.
Yeah.
Bonkers, off the wall, crazy, wild experience, an incredible experience with Ford Performance and the Shelby division. 2.6 liters.
That sounds rather small.
Yeah.
What is?
Well, it's 0.1 liters larger than the displacement of my engine in my Subaru.
It's much larger than the 1.4 of my.
Yeah. That's the displacement of the supercharger.
Oh my goodness.
On top of
the
the 5.2 liter V8 that pushes the GT500 around the track. So they had us broke up into 3 groups, basically. And I was actually grateful for the group that I was in because I was the last one to go.
Right.
Or in the last group to experience the car, the driving portion of the car.
Okay.
So I got the history and the background and the technology and all that type of stuff ahead of time. That was the first station. It was there was a beautiful 1968 Shelby GT500 there.
Right.
Someone had brought and let Ford Performance use for the couple of days there. And so they compared one to the other, night and day difference.
Yeah. So you shared with me, and we shared with our viewers on Instagram and Facebook a picture of the brake rotor and the caliper of the new GT500 compared to the wheel and tire combo of the original.
Yeah. The wheel and tire combo from the 68 is smaller in diameter and width than the rotor and caliper, respectively. So the rotor on the GT500 from the 2021 is larger in diameter, and the brake caliper, the 6-piston Brembo brake caliper, is wider than the 68 wheel.
That's insane. And I bet proved to be quite powerful around the track.
I had to nail my face back on after braking. It was insane. So the second stage was a demonstration of the 0 to 100 to 0 capabilities of this thing. This is a supercar. You can call it a Mustang. You can call it a muscle car. You can call it a pony car, whatever you want to call it. This thing is supercar level. Right. It's nuts.
There's that word again.
I know. There's that word again. So Ford Performance wanted to rent an aircraft carrier.
Okay.
And do this demonstration on the deck of an aircraft carrier. because it will go 0 to 100 and back to 0 in a shorter distance than the length of the U.S. Navy's largest aircraft carrier.
Who's going to be bold enough to trust those claims and trust their own capabilities that they're not going to end up in the ocean?
That's the crazy thing. They had a driver that wanted to do it, and when the Navy backed out on the largest one, the next size down was still long enough to do it. He just wanted the nets put on the end, basically. Right. Save on
fair enough.
Yeah, save on a tremendous tow bill
right.
trying to pull a Mustang out of the water. But they still, the Navy was like, I don't think that's a good idea.
Too much liability tied in and baked into that. So
yeah.
That is interesting.
So it's just over 1,000 feet. 0 to 100 and back to 0 in just over 1,000 feet. And I will tell you, the brakes are incredible. It would scrub 100 miles an hour in like 40 yards.
Well, apparently it would have to if they're willing to do it on the deck of an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, I mean, it was nuts.
Yeah, sounds like it.
It was nuts.
So you said that was a demonstration. That was something you stood by and watched happen because, again, you had to know you have to be in tune with the vehicle enough, not just some journalist who walked up off the street.
Exactly. Know how to work the launch control, know how to know the vehicle, all those details and things like that. And they did. It was a beautiful blue GT500 that they lined up and ran for that particular segment. They also had an EcoBoost Mustang there just on display, and a Mach 1, the special edition Mach 1 with the performance pack and the handling pack. Oh my goodness. Like, the GT500 starts at like 72.
Yeah.
And if you click any boxes, it's at 80 grand.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you choose a box, like the paint codes, right? There's a Kona blue stripe paint code that you can click on.
Sounds nice.
It's a $10,000 option.
Nope.
Don't worry, it gets worse.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The carbon package for the GT500.
So what all does that include?
It's the front splitter, the hood, which is a like heat extractor, big massive thing. The side skirts and a massive wing that's like it's 500 pounds more downforce than what the standard GT500 wing has.
Insane.
So it's like 2,500. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
We need word of the day, Pee Wee Herman. Every time you say that.
Blew me away. So that package though, the carbon fiber package, $18,600 for that package. $18,600.
I just want to make sure that wasn't 1,800.
Yeah. So if you want blue painted on Kona blue stripes, and the carbon package,
there's another car.
That's
right
30
there.
grand.
Yeah.
Just that quick.
Yeah.
So
that's that Kia K5 that we reviewed and put up on our YouTube channel.
It absolutely is. For some carbon fiber and a cool paint scheme. Yeah.
Yeah, versus a family hauler that you and I both really liked.
Right. So with that in mind, the Mach 1, for me, would be the route that I would go.
Okay.
It has basically a tuned 5-liter.
Okay.
And a lot of the suspension geometry and characteristics and technology of the GT500 and the GT350 all kind of rolled into one package. So it is truly a track-focused car.
All right, so you're speaking to a tried and true Camaro enthusiast here. That's like the 1LE package, essentially.
Yes.
And the GT500 would be ZL1, maybe ZL1 1LE, and alphabet number soup as we start getting into Chevy option codes. So.
Basically, yeah. So the ZL1 1LE, if it could compete with the GT500.
Oh, please. It could. I'd love to see those go head-to-head.
No, it doesn't. 650, and 760 doesn't compute.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It just doesn't.
These are the same people that bring us the C8 Corvette that has 450 horsepower in a mid-engine, and it'll go 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. So, Like, they're capable of some weird, crazy wizardry over there.
Yeah.
At General Motors, especially in the halls of Chevy Performance. So,
Oh yeah, definitely.
I would like to see it. I know it put some impressive numbers going around the Nürburgring. So.
Yes. Yeah. No, it would be an incredible. It would be an interesting race to see. Those two go up against each other. So that was round 2 or station 2 of the trip. Station 3 was the driving portion, and I don't know if any of our listeners have been to a Ford Performance event or any kind of press event, but they don't mess around.
Yeah.
So you get the briefing, at the beginning of the day, like, don't act stupid, don't be out there trying to set track records, all
Sounds
the typical
like stuff we heard today. Yeah.
Right. And then they literally put you in the driver's seat and say, have fun.
Talk about temptation, right?
Well, I mean,
what are you supposed to do?
I have never been around anything as powerful or as capable as that vehicle.
Yeah.
And they literally handed me the keys
and
literally
said, have fun.
Yeah. I mean,
at a racetrack.
So what they did was a lead follow. So there was a professional driver in the first car and then 3 journalists in the cars behind him.
One to a car.
Yeah.
So you had your own.
He set the pace, and we followed him. And if we were keeping up well, he'd speed up a little bit.
Okay.
So much so that I was in the first group. I was in the first car of our group that went out. I don't think it was the group right after us, so this isn't as impressive as I originally thought it was. But if there was a third group on the track, we caught up to them, and we're trying to lap them. I mean, not really, but we had to slow down
because
at one
you
point,
were
getting up onto the bank
on another group because
we had
they were
caught
not
up with
pace.
that other group, and it was incredible. It was nuts. It was nuts, Corey. It was nuts. It was truly amazing. So, my top speed through the bank.
Yeah.
On 3 and 4, and I think corners 1 and 2 as well at Texas Motor Speedway was 100 miles an hour.
Oh, okay.
So a nice flat 3 digits.
Yeah.
Top speed down the back straight.
Yeah.
Because on the front straight is where you actually got on and then got off of the oval for the road course portion. So down the back straight, which is not straight if you know Texas Motor Speedway at all, 117.
Nice.
Okay. We did 4 laps or so. Okay. I lost count. There's an 11-minute...
It's all a blur.
Yeah, there's an 11-minute video, and I don't say a word in the whole thing.
Focused. You were focused.
I was scared out of my mind is what I was.
Don't put it in the wall. Don't put it in the wall. Don't put it in the wall.
It was the most surreal experience I think I have ever been a part of. 100 miles an hour on the bank of Texas Motor Speedway in a vehicle that has 760 horsepower on tap, and it wanted everything I had to give it and so much more. So much more. I was the limiting factor on that car by far because after we do our 4 laps, we're still shaking, white-knuckled, letting go of the steering wheel. The guy that opens the door to help me out of the car says, "Hey, you want to go on a hot lap?" Yes, absolutely. And so I get out of the car. I walk right over. They're doing their sanitizing thing, getting the car ready for the next person to go into it. And standing there waiting around, and I'm reeling still from the fact that I just drove around Texas Motor Speedway.
And that was your first time ever to that track.
That was my first, first time I had ever stepped foot at Texas Motor Speedway. First time I had ever been even close to a GT500. Right. First time I had come close to driving anything as powerful as that. A lot of firsts this past Tuesday, and it was a blast. It was nuts. But it was a blast. And so the hot lap comes around. Have you ever watched YouTube videos of groups of fighter jets taking off?
Yeah.
So like there'll be 4 or 5 jets stacked up together, and they're all
Yep.
And they've got it timed where they'll take off nice and pretty and bank the same direction and all
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
yeah.
It's really cool to watch, right? Yeah.
You did that on land?
That's what it was like for the hot lap. Because I ended up being the first one up in our group. They put me in a car, and I was over on the far right side of the pit row area there for the road track. And we're sitting there. I met the guy. I believe his name was Trey. I'm horrible with names, so I can't. Anyway, and so we're talking and, kind of going back and forth on the car, talking a little bit about the car. So what do you do? He said, I'm a race car driver. I do MotoGP. He said, yeah, I probably spend about 300 days a year on a track.
Nothing major,
Instantly jealous, right? To get paid to be on a track 300 days a year would be incredible.
Yeah.
So we're going through all that. He said, I asked him the question, what do you like better, 2 wheels or 4? Because
that's you.
Asking questions.
Yeah.
And he said, if I'm racing, I'd rather be on 2 wheels. If I'm instructing, which is what he was doing that day, he'd rather be in a car. And,
I don't blame him on that one.
Yeah, I understand that completely. But it was cool to see his dynamic, that type of thing. So the first couple of cars, we didn't do launch control. We didn't need to. The first couple cars, start taking off, and it's like in Star Wars when they're all jumping to hyperspeed.
Yes.
Right? This one will go, and then this one, and then that one, and this one, and us,
Yeah.
And that's literally what it was like, because the first car would go, and you'd hear it roaring. And the next car would go, and then he hits the button to roll up the windows. The next car goes, and then we hit, and
throw him back into your seat. And,
insane. So the corner that I went 100 miles an hour, 3-4, and then 1-2.
Yeah.
He was doing 120.
Oh my goodness.
And down the back straight, 150 miles an hour. Yeah. It was nuts.
Nuts.
I don't have another better word for it. It was incredible. I never have I experienced anything like that before. Until today.
Yeah. So, about that, again, going back to what today was, it's an event put on by Texas Auto Riders where all of the journalist members of Texas Auto Riders Association converge, and OEMs from across the country bring their best vehicles that they can. And this, obviously, since we're at a track, is a car-based event. Car, crossover, family hauler. There's a road course portion of it. There's the road course track inside the oval at Texas Motor Speedway, but you can actually get out on public roads as well. And so many just insane cars here, and some normal everyday cars that are just brand new for 2021. So very, very interesting mix. You go anywhere from the new Nissan Kicks up to the insane $500,000 Rolls-Royce Ghost.
Yeah.
That is just insane.
336,000
starting
or
price.
something like that.
Starting
at
price. Yeah. But then you've got the $12,000 silver paint job and the custom blue and khaki interior.
Yeah, $10,000 umbrella, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. We're
umbrella.
But it matches the interior, man.
Oh, it does. Oh, well, that's good. I
Yeah.
mean, if you pay $10,000 for an umbrella, it ought to.
It ought to match the interior of your custom Rolls Royce. But yeah, you know me. We've joked on the podcast before. I'm a sucker for Navy.
Yeah.
Navy blue. I'm currently wearing multiple Navy blue things as we speak. And the Navy blue tan combination inside this Rolls Royce is magnifique. I love it. It's a pretty rig, and we did not drive it today. We've got a little bit more action ahead of us.
Definitely.
We are sitting down now with Kristen Shaw of Drive Mode Show. Okay.
Yes.
Of Drive Mode Show, of president of Texas Auto Writers Association, and weekend editor of the Drive magazine, among many, many other things. You are a very, very busy individual. Welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. I'm glad to see you guys.
Thanks for sitting down with us for a little bit.
Yeah. So the first thing we want to say is thank you so much for this event that we are at. And it has been a blast.
Oh, it's been incredible.
Of just the amount of content we were able to get, the amount of different vehicles that we never would have gotten to experience probably any other way than a conglomeration event like this with how many journalists do we have? North of 50 journalists?
No, there's about 40.
40 journalists here. So
40 plus.
just an amazing event with a wide range of vehicles, like Ghost to Venue.
Yeah. Or ID Ford to Hellcat.
Right. Everything in between.
Which is how we started our day today.
Yeah.
ID4 Hellcat. Quite a way to start. So we just wanted to pick your brain a little bit and maybe allow you to tell your story and what got you to here, to this busy lifestyle of president of TAWA, writing for the Drive Mode Show, and all that. What is your history in vehicle?
Well, I was born in New Jersey.
Okay.
I don't have to go that far back.
Not quite.
So my corporate background was in telecom.
Okay.
So I worked for WorldCom when they bought MCI, and that was a big deal.
Okay.
And then I went through pagers, and through that, I ended up working in technology.
Okay.
And I was working in technology through the dot-com boom.
Yeah.
So in the early 2000s, you didn't even really need a business plan.
Nope.
You were going to get millions of dollars.
Right.
Yeah.
And they needed lots of PR, so that's what I did. And then from there, I started my own blog in 2011, writing about parenting. Just about real essays and experience. And I got picked up by the Huffington Post about a year after I started my blog. So from there, that kind of catapulted me into the Today Show parenting team. And then at the same time, I started exploring cars.
Awesome.
And the first car that I wrote about for a review was a Ferrari F430.
Wow. Way to start off.
I know, right?
Stepping into it there a
the
bit.
very first review I wrote.
So, instant love affair between you and Ferraris at that point, or?
I have loved cars my whole life,
Okay.
but especially classic cars. So my mom and dad took us to a lot of car shows when I was a kid, and so I love cars. I just love everything about them.
Yeah.
And I just happened upon a Ferrari for the first one. It was one of those exotic car rental places
Okay.
in Austin, and I convinced them to let me borrow a Ferrari in exchange for some blog posts.
Nice. That's a
We
great way to do it.
We need to move to a bigger city, Matt. That's the moral of that story as I heard it. So
Ask or you can't have, right?
Right,
Like you've got to ask for it.
that has been my MO for the past
Year?
yes.
Yeah, at least
year
a
and
year.
a half. I've just been asking people, and I've not been afraid of the word no, because no is less painful than sitting here wanting.
It's true.
So
That's how I ended up applying for the Drive. I was like, that sounds like a good job. I think I want that. And I went for it.
So
That's awesome.
You have written some pretty awesome articles over at the Drive, and one I wanted to speak to you about this. So it's fun that it's getting to be on the record. One of your most recent is about hood ornaments.
Yes, hood ornaments.
And your love for hood ornaments and how they have basically all but died off. Two very prominent brands still feature hood ornaments. One has a name, Spirit of Ecstasy,
right?
in the Rolls Royce, and the Bentley Flying Bee. But my very first car wasn't a spectacular example of the brand, but had a hood ornament, long hood, and it was a Cadillac. And I just loved seeing that and that having that prestige. It did make me drive a little bit different.
Yeah.
I'm in a Cadillac. Move out of my
You're a
way.
little sassier.
Yes.
You're like, yeah, look at me.
Right?
And it was all behind that hood ornament, the fact that it was a Cadillac, it was a prestigious brand, and those two things kind of went together for so long, and now it's no longer really a thing. unless you're like the upper echelon with the Rolls Royce.
Right.
So that spoke to me a little bit as well, and definitely spoke to my history, because I was like, that's how I started off, was with a classy car for the era, with a hood ornament. So
people had a lot to say about that. You know, they had different hood ornaments, and they talked about, I guess they stopped making them because they were a pedestrian hazard.
Yes.
I was like, well,
interesting.
Get out of the way.
The car could be a pedestrian hazard. Yeah.
I think the hood ornament is the least of your issues, but
I know.
If that's what's hitting you.
3,000-pound hunk of metal.
Wow.
Little piece of metal sticking up. Yeah.
Right.
Cars were so much about art.
Yes.
And it is absolutely different. And it's evolving and it's changing, and now it's more about the science. Not to steal a old slogan of Cadillac, art and science, but it's definitely getting to that, especially as, you know, we're pushed into this EV world where I don't have an master electrician degree. I'm not quite sure how I would soup up, modify, or anything with. So it's an interesting future we're trudging into.
I think you could swap out the battery for an ice.
Yeah,
that's what you should do. That's how you soup
LS,
it up.
LS swap it.
Yeah,
there you go.
LS swap all the things. Hellcat swap all the things.
Yeah. See, now you're a convert, aren't you?
Admittedly, the Hellcat has. I've been bit. Yeah, a bit. Yeah, that was phenomenal today. Absolutely incredible.
And that was only your first example. I had 2 examples under my belt at the truck rodeo, and so we're gonna get you in some more rigs, and you're gonna love it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Loud and obnoxious and excellent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't know what is louder, the exhaust behind you or the supercharger in front of you. Like the whole package and the visceralness of the acceleration, the tire smoke.
It's all of it. I have no idea what you're talking about. None at all.
Me?
Yeah. You were just following the instructor's instructions.
I said, mat it. He said yes, so I put it on the floor. And
if you get any complaints, if anything comes your way, he was told, I have video proof. So.
Okay, that's fine. If that's what the instructor told you to do, you got to go with it.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, they're the professionals.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
I will note that when we got around to my turn, he was like, oh yeah, this car has launch control. Let me tell you about launch control. So we mitigated that problem. We were probably one of the first people to take that car out for the day, because that was our second car of the day.
Yeah.
So it was pretty early on.
So did you have any favorites today? Do you want to?
Well, that one was high on the list for sure.
Which one?
The Hellcat Challenger Red Eye. Charger Red Eye, yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's a family car that just rocks.
Yes, absolutely. One that may have edged it out just barely was the last car we were in today, and that was the Supra.
I was blown away, because there's some controversy around that car in automotive circles, especially Supra faithful, because it's
BM Yoda.
Yeah. I've been jokingly calling it the brand confused sports car, because it is a rebadged BMW, but Toyota has worked their magic on it, and they put in as much. They put into it as well. It was not a BMW car from the get-go, but I was thoroughly impressed myself with that one as well.
It was incredible. The ride, the handling, everything about it. It's a complete package, and it's a lightweight package. It is very reminiscent of the sports car that was in the 50s and 60s that created the movement of even the muscle cars and the pony cars and all that through the 60s and 70s. That driving experience, you don't have to have necessarily all 797 horsepower of the Hellcat Red Eye in order to have a good time. If it handles well, it's lightweight, and you've got enough power, it's a blast. And that car is most definitely a blast.
That is one thing that I love about the Fiat 124 Abarth.
Yeah.
It's a lot like the Miata.
Yeah.
But the way the back end swings around while you're speeding around a track, like there's nothing like that.
I didn't understand why that didn't pick up more traction here in the States, because to your point, it is a Miata. It was a partnership between the two companies, but it had more power than the Miata. and looks are subjective. I kind of felt I lent a little more to the Fiat for styling. Yeah, I that's one I don't understand. That has me scratching my head. Like, why did you leave us? I miss you. Come back.
Well, you're talking about Toyota rebadging. One of my other, I think, underrated sports cars is the Toyota 86.
Absolutely.
Especially with the manual, because
save the manuals. I'm not wearing it today, but tomorrow.
I don't drive a ton of manuals, but I found that one was super easy to use.
Yep. And one of the things about that is that's more or less the people's Supra, in that it isn't as crazy as the Supra. It's got skinnier tires, but it's rear drive. It's you can get it with a manual. It's lightweight. It's
got a Subaru motor in
it. You're a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it checks all the right boxes, and it's a fun toy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to call it an appliance, but it's definitely fun. So, and we're getting a second generation of it, so very exciting for that.
Most definitely. What was your choice of the vehicles that are here this week? What's your choice for?
I cannot play favorites.
No.
But I have to tell you, just overall, one of my favorite sports cars is the Lexus LC500H.
Okay.
The hybrid, because it's so smooth to drive and the fuel economy is incredible. Like, I drove from Austin to Fort Worth and back.
Right.
With gas still in the tank.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
And it's just a great
stunner
experience.
of a car too.
It's
that
stunning.
is a very gorgeous car. And
It
so
is.
I was very excited to see that we had a sample of it here. I have not gotten to drive it yet. Tomorrow the forecast is calling for an even warmer day, so perfect day for a convertible. I'm very excited. Yes.
Yes.
Pretty good.
Is that one track certified? No.
Nope.
Just okay.
No.
Brought it down just a peg, but I'll be okay with it.
Did you guys drive the RC Fuji?
Yes,
Fuji
we
edition
did.
On the track?
Yes, we did.
Most definitely.
What did you think about that?
For me, it ticks in right underneath the Supra.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's over the top. Everything is overdone in that car. It's incredible. The fit and finish is immaculate. It's well done. It's well put together. But it's all done for you, kind of a feel. So there's not much connection between you and the car. It's a lot of the car doing it for you. So that's the only reason it's below those. Other than that, oh my goodness. The look of it, the carbon, the color.
It was an insane vehicle. Like one of the coolest ones to look at.
Most definitely.
And so, yes, I'm thinking of the cars we took on the track. We took the Charger Hellcat, we took the Fuji, and we took the Supra. Did we take any others, or it was just those?
I think it was those three.
You didn't take the Durango Hellcat out yet?
Not yet. So, talked to Kimberly, and
it will be done.
Yeah, it will be done. We'll be back tomorrow.
It will be mine.
So, and I asked you right after we drove the Fuji, the RCF, if you remember what Jeremy Clarkson said about it and how he famously did not like it because, this is a company that brought us the LFA.
Right.
And at that point, we had just driven that. But after driving the Supra, do you look at that one a little bit differently as far as how big it was and some of that?
Some of it, kind of to an extent, but I'm also fresh in the game too.
Yeah,
I haven't experienced a lot of these cars.
He's lived a very privileged life.
Right. So, I have a little different perspective on it than he does. As far as somebody, because I could not take the car to the limit at all, like it needs to be and like it wants to be. So to experience it at the limit of what it can do, I haven't done that yet. But for what it is, it's beautiful. It's crazy fast. It handles incredibly well, and for the money, it's spectacular.
So can't play favorites, and I won't ask this specifically about the vehicles that we have here this weekend or beginning of the week, but luxury, sport, SUV, where did you gravitate to? Where would you gravitate to? What kind of vehicle, if it's your money on the line or if you had to live with it for an extended period of time, what kind of car are you getting? Because like I said, today there were just so many different options.
Yeah.
You know, I cannot choose, but people ask me all the time because when they find out I write about cars,
Right.
they're surprised because I'm female. Right. So a lot of the time, or like people I grew up with, they're like, "You're writing about cars? Like you get cars every week? That's so crazy." But the coolest car I think that I've driven was the Lamborghini Aventador S, and I got to take it on the track and ring it out, and that was amazing. So I definitely gravitate toward the fast cars. But you know what I thought was really cool today that I noticed? They were telling me about the new Toyota Sienna minivan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They've got vortex generators on the side
Really?
for aerodynamics.
Interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
So again, I told you 600 miles of range on that thing. They're very committed to fuel economy.
Yeah, I was like, there's vortex generators on this thing. Are you kidding me? That's
on a
crazy.
minivan. See, minivans are cool. Come around, people.
They're
Come
most
around.
definitely cool. Yeah.
We just want to thank you again for sitting down and chatting with us a little bit. For our listeners that want to follow you, see more of what you do, read some of your articles, where would be the best place or places to find some of your work?
Lately, you can find me at thedrive.com, and I write probably 6 articles a week for them or more, 6 to 8 articles a week. And then on Instagram and TikTok, it's Drive Mode Show.
Cool.
Okay. Well,
Very cool.
We thank you again, not only for coming and sitting down with us and chatting with us about this awesome event, but helping make this event happen. As the president of the Texas Auto Writers, we're incredibly grateful for this group that has assembled, that is under your tutelage. And thank you so much for the work that you put in making this happen.
It is such a pleasure to meet you guys, and I love talking to you about cars, and I love hearing about your different passions about cars, and you're just lovely to be around. So
Well, thank you
thanks
so
for coming.
much.
Thank
We
you.
could do it all day.
That's right.
But
We'll
thank
have
you
to
very
have
much.
you on again soon.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, Cory. Day
Yes.
1 in the books.
Day 1 in the books. It has been long. It has been exhausting. It has been exhilarating. There have been high highs, not really low lows.
No.
It's just when we slowed down enough to realize how much has been accomplished today.
Yeah.
It's been crazy. Just insane the amount of horsepower that we've been put in charge of today.
I'm gonna go through and add up. Like we start with 797. The ID4 doesn't count.
I had to get you in that one. That's,
Almost 400 with the Supra.
right.
Almost 500 with the Lexus.
Right.
I mean, 3 beautiful specimens of minivans.
Right.
2 incredible SUVs in opposite ends of that spectrum.
Right. And then the behemoth Escalade
Oh
that
my
surprised
gracious.
the mess out of you when you mashed the gas.
Yeah, it did.
That beast can move.
6,000 pounds, and it has no problem getting to 60 one bit.
No, it does not. Escalade don't care.
Nope.
So,
Heck of a day. Absolutely fantastic day. It was nuts, Cory.
it was nuts. The word of the day today, nuts. We're just incredibly grateful so much for the people who helped put this event on. We sat with a couple of them, the president of TAWA, Kristen, the vice president of events, Tia Collier. We're incredibly grateful for their friendship, their mentorship, what they've been doing for us. Ooh.
I hit the wrong button.
Very ominous. But if you want to check out more of what we're doing, what we're driving, where we are, head on over to gtgaragetalk.com, your one-stop shop for all things GT Garage Talk, and to stay in touch with us.
Be paying close attention to our YouTube in the coming days and weeks.
Yeah, we've got a lot of editing to do now, Matt.
I was sitting at dinner editing a video together
Yeah.
this evening. So, yeah, some vlogging, which I'm going to try and
Some
continue
blogs
some tomorrow.
that we gotta post.
Some blogs, some videos, some all kinds of crazy, wild, fun, nuts stuff.
Yeah. So like I said, gtgaragetalk.com is your one-stop shop for all things, links to the podcast, links to the YouTube, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter, all of it. And we will put links in the show notes to all of our guests. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, bye.